welcome to the Arlene Show. It's a pleasure to join you again. We are here with you every Thursday evening at 6:30. And today we have a very exciting show for you because we have a special guest with us. And that special guest is none other than one of my favorite coaches, coach extraordinaire, Miss Tara Bramble. And as you know, I am also a life coach and a business consultant. I specialize in the area of momentum and peak performance. So what does that mean? It means that I help you to move forward in your business, project, or endeavor. So if you've always wanted to start that business and you just haven't seemed to put it together yet, or you already have a business and you want to 10x that business, you want to take your business to the next level, or perhaps it's not business at all. You want to write that book that you've always wanted to write. You know exactly what you need to do, and you just need the pieces of the puzzle to put it together. Or you want to lose that extra 10 pounds, and that's just what you're looking to do in order to put all of the pieces of the puzzle together. Well, you're in the right place today, because not only does coaching help you to facilitate cultivating all of those shortcomings, but it helps you in the sense that you have somebody to come alongside you and support you while you walk through that process. And we said that all winners have coaches. Right. If you look at the top performers, they're all accompanied by someone who helps them to do better. And sometimes we say, well, we can just use our moms or our dads or our family members to coach us. But what I've shared with you in the past is that sometimes the people who are closest to us and that love us the most, they really don't want to see us stress. They really don't want to see us hurt or push. And so sometimes a coach is that person who will say, after you've done those 10 squats, the coach will say, 10 more. Whereas mommy and daddy may say, just sit down, have a soda, relax. Okay, have a fruit, relax. Your coach doesn't do that. Your coach stretches you and pushes you and prods you so that you can be the best version of yourself. And so today, once again, I'm so excited to have with us a coach extraordinaire, Tara Bramble. And I only bring to you guys the people who I have used, that I find are tried and true, that have been tested. And so I'm very excited about her because when I was going through my challenge and my journey, as I've shared with you guys many times throughout these programs, this is one of the ladies that helped me. And one of the things that she shared with me in the past that really helped me to open my eyes, to move forward, and to cultivate the skills necessary to win was that she had hope. She really knew that I could do it. And she just fully encouraged me where I needed encouragement. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Tara Bramble. Hello, Tara.
Good evening, Arlene. It's so great to see you here. This is wonderful. Thank you for inviting me.
Hello. It's wonderful to be with you again. It's been a while. And since we last spoke, I've written a book. It's called The 10 Secrets to Overcoming Fear and Getting Unstuck. Here we go. 10 Secrets to Overcoming Fear and Getting Unstuck. And what we've been doing on the show is talking about each of the secrets each week, sharing on some of those tools, tips, and techniques. And we have you here today because I know that you know how to go from the bottom rung of the ladder all the way up to the top, because you've done it in your own life. And you've also worked with young people in the schools. Mm-hmm. She has worked with adults. She's worked with corporate executives. She's worked in social arenas as well as working on her own. And so, Tara, what have you been doing? Background.
Well, what have I been doing? Well, right now, I'm in a doctorate program at Regent University for strategic leadership.
Congratulations.
I'm just so excited. It just brings everything that I have done and accomplished and everything that I want to do. It has brought everything on one page. And so I am encouraged to use it. But, doctoral study is mainly research. So I'm just growing and developing, and I'm really enjoying it. But I am a life coach. And in particular, I am a singer's life coach. And why? I've worked with the Department of Ed education in New York City for 15 years. And so most of my time and experience was there, but it's been maybe like 6 years. And so in those 6 years, I have learned, or I've come to value the experience and knowledge as well as wisdom that I have. And because I am a formally trained life coach, and Arlene, you have a lot to do with that, because you know that people can become inspired because they're motivators and say, I am a life coach. But I want to be formally trained because I'm also a mental health counselor. So it's necessary to have those credentials. So I took my Department of Education experience with children, working with adolescents and their parents, as well as teachers, school administration. I have that experience in teaching leadership. And then I've been singing professionally for over 30 years. I'm a recording artist, and I have traveled the world. And so with the skills of the life coach I can break it down, and I can walk along with other people and help them accomplish the things that I wish I had somebody like you, Arlene, to walk with me. So I'm really grateful for that. And so, life coach.
Wow. I am so honored to spend time with you today, because not only because you have all of these credentials, but because, as I said before, you not only talk the talk, but you walk the walk. So sometimes people have the documentation on paper, but you're also gifted in terms of seeing and knowing and understanding where people need to be prodded and where people need to be pushed. I also think that you're unique in that you do have the psychology or psychological background as well as the coaching background, and you're somehow beautifully marrying the two, because many times there's somewhat of a, people may say there's a conflict between the two, but with your coaching, you use that side sometimes when it's necessary and use the other side, as I've seen you when you've worked with me. And so I really do appreciate that. If you could just share with us and share with our listeners, what are the differences between the coaching and the counseling? So some people will say, well, I don't have a coach, but I have a counselor. What are some of the differences if people are not aware?
To make it simple, we would say that a counselor helps you understand, why do I? And a coach helps you figure out, how can I?
Excellent.
Pretty much, that's it. So, in counseling, we're looking into the emotion. We're looking into the mindset. We are taking apart a construct, the mindset, the way that people are thinking. But a coach says, okay, what do you want to do?
Okay, this is so key, because for me, one of the challenges that I had, as you know, and as many of our listeners know, my mother passed away, and she passed away rather suddenly and unexpectedly. And so I took it very hard. Mm-hmm. And so when I went to the counselor, she was suggesting very strongly that I clean out my mom's things. And I knew I needed to clean out my mom's items from her closet. And I just didn't seem to be able to do it at that time, but I knew I needed to do it. And so I would go to the counseling session, and she would say, well, you need to clean out the closets and put her things out. And she would say, well, did you do it? And I'd say, well, no, but I know I need to do it. And then the next session would happen, and she would say, well, have you cleaned out the things yet? And I would say, no. And she'd say, well, you really need to clean the things out so that, you can move on and make progress and clear your mind mentally, and all of the good stuff that needed to happen, all of the healing that needed to happen. But I hadn't done it. Mm-hmm. But the difference is, or the distinction was, that when I went to the coach, she gave me the tips, the tools, and the techniques mm-hmm. to begin clearing it out. Okay. So I went from clearing out the things from the closet and putting them downstairs in the basement, which was really helpful for me, because I didn't really want to clear them out, but taking them out of the closet and putting them downstairs was helpful. That was one step. And then another step was taking them from the basement and putting them in the garage, which was closer to out, but wasn't quite, where they needed to be. Mm-hmm. But that was a second step, and it was a challenge, but I was able to get through that until finally I was able to do the last step, which is taking it from the garage and taking the items to Goodwill. And in terms of some of the clothing tools right. or techniques that you find are helpful when people are challenged. So as you know, many of us are peak performers, and many of us have had success in the past. And that's why we're even listening to the program, and that's why we would even be interested in this kind of a dialogue or in this kind of a program. But sometimes it's very challenging to accomplish the things that we know we need to accomplish. And for those of you who are interested in reading Proverbs and reading biblical content, even the Apostle Paul said, the things that I know I should do, I don't do. And so it's been a challenge down through the ages. Even the most successful people find it challenging sometimes to move forward. So what can you tell us as a beginning step to getting and achieving the things that we want? Especially when they're things that are hard for us.
Determine exactly what it is you want. Determine exactly what it is you want. Do you want peace? Do you want to be free? Do you want to accomplish something? How do you want to feel? How do you want to change your mind? Decide, establish what are the things you want to accomplish. What do I want now?
That is key.
Yeah.
That is key. Even in terms of your own journey and you wanting to move forward career-wise or move forward. Sometimes people have a challenge. For example, just to make it more practical, people have challenges with weight loss. People have challenges with all sorts of things. But in my case, I wanted to write a book. I wanted to write this book here for several years. Ever since I was going through the challenges with my mom. It's called 10 Secrets to Overcoming Fear and Getting Unstuck. And this particular book, I said, it's after COVID-19. But through those years, even though I knew I wanted to write the book and I knew exactly what I wanted to say, Tara, I just never seemed to do it. I never seemed to sit down and do it. And when I started to think of the people whose lives could be changed as a result of my experience and the love that I had for them, I was able to sit down and write the book within a couple of days, like 3 days, and I just whipped it out. Whereas before, it was so challenging for me to do it.
Here's the key. When we are in the moment, we're looking at the challenges. But I'm sure at this time, you can now see the timeline. And the timeline was already established for you to arrive at this moment. See, when you're in the situation, you're looking at the challenges. Why is this happening? I want to do this. I want to do that. But wisdom, remember, knowledge is wisdom proven. So wisdom tells you when you get to the end, you'll be able to see the path. So you listen to wisdom for your next move and say, the path is before me. What do I want to do now? And as long as you're taking the steps, and we talked about this, as long as you're taking the steps, you're moving forward, and you are fulfilling, and you are moving in the path.
Okay, so that leads me to another question. So many of us who have, people who have come to me, whether on the business consulting side, which I did for years before I got into coaching, many of the people who would come to me, Tara, would say they want to start a business, they want to be involved in the world, but they just didn't know what kind of business. That people come to the book, but I don't think that anybody's going to be interested in this kind of thing that I'm interested in. I don't know where to begin. So how do you know what it is that you're supposed to be focused on when you don't know what to focus on?
What have you done? What are your greatest accomplishments? What are the things that you are most proud of? What gives you joy? What gives you passion? Because that's what fires you to move forward, and that's what keeps you on the path when it is difficult.
That's very interesting. You look in where you should go in the future. Show, we talked about this question and answering this question, and we've said that if someone comes to you and says, the thing that you should be doing is something completely foreign that you've never thought of, never heard of, never imagined or envisioned, that's probably not it. That's probably not your true destiny, your true goal. It's probably something that you've been thinking about for a long time, or it's been propping up even from your childhood, and you know that you've wanted to do this. So thank you for sharing that. One of the things that we're going to do right now is take a little break. Right. We're going to listen to a brief interlude or a brief session where I'm going to share a little bit about the mastermind group that we do and invite all of you to be a part of the mastermind group and participate with us so that you can get more insight, more tips, more tools and techniques while we're off air during the week.
I'm Arlene, host of the television talk show Ask Arlene, which airs on Thursdays at 6:30. And as a business consultant and life coach, I help you to move forward in your business, project, or endeavor. So if you always wanted to write a book, but you just haven't seemed to get started, or you always wanted to 10x that business that you already have, expand it to the next level, you know exactly what you need to do, but you just haven't done it? Well, I've already purchased all the courses, read all the books, the Tony Robbins, all sorts. I have several degrees, including a master's degree and credits toward a doctorate. I've sat and met celebrities and done the networking. And what I've realized is what I really needed was a mastermind group of people working toward my project, my business, or my endeavor. So what I've done is met with coaches and met with experts and put them together to work on your project. So join us today for our mastermind networking group. I'll see you there. Click the link below.
Hello and welcome back to the Ask Arlene show. And once again, we're joined today by Coach Tara Bramble, who is a coach extraordinaire. She's someone who's worked in academia, worked with students in the most challenging neighborhoods. And that is actually where I came in contact with her when she was working with young people. She is also a coach working with companies, working with corporate executives. She is someone who can help you go from the bottom rung to the top rung of the ladder. And as I said, she's someone who I have confided in and has helped me in my journey. And so I'm very excited to talk with her today because she has so many answers, guys. So some people come on the show, Tara, and they talk about their challenges and their experiences, but they really don't give us any tools and techniques for ourselves to take home. But the beautiful thing about you is that you're always willing to share those nuggets that get us to the next level. So if we're watching the show today and we've not experienced a coach or been in a coaching environment, but we want to excel and we're just in a menial job that is not satisfying and is not nurturing, what can we do? Because some of us, especially during COVID-19, we're strapped and hanging on to the jobs for dear life because there's so many people who don't have anything at all. And so what could we do now in order to take those micro steps or micro wins as opposed to not doing anything in terms of us excelling and achieving?
I would say the first step is a things to do list. What do I want to do? What do I want to do today? Now, on your main things to do list, what you want on that list is find a life coach. Find a life coach.
Yes, guys.
A formally trained life coach. Exactly.
Life coach.
A formally trained life coach they're trained to strategically map out the plan you say you want to reach or the goal you say that you want to reach. But until you get there, just list on the back of an envelope. This is what I want to do. You're intelligent. How do I think I can do it? How about this one? Google it. Get some information. Do
Right.
some research. Okay. And then again, like I said before, go back to the things that you've done in the past that you love. Something I learned, talk to your family, talk to your friends. What are you most proud of that I have done? Because yes, they love you and they will rub you down when you all sad and encourage you. But some will also tell you the truth, and they'll say, every time you sing, the hair stands up on my arms. Or every time we have a problem, you just work it out. You are a troubleshooter. Or whenever there's confusion, you bring order. And you're like, really?
Yeah.
And they will tell you, remember when you sang at the wedding? You were lousy. Again. You can use your family and you can use your friends at this point to just look at and say, what do I want to do? How can I go about it? How can I get to a life coach? How can I get to Arlene as soon as possible? Not just listen to Arlene and enjoy her, because a lot of times people like to listen to coaches and listen to smart people, but they don't move. So take advantage and just and not only listen to Arlene, but contact her, email her.
Yes.
It's okay if you cannot articulate clearly what it is that you want to do. Right. Because she can help you do it. That's part of her job. That's part of our job, to help you map out and clearly articulate what it is you want to do, and with you make a plan, a doable plan, and set attainable goals and challenging goals. Short-term goals and long-term goals. Listen, this life is designed not just for us to struggle, not just for us to go to work to make money to do the things that we want to do. Yes. Life is also to live it. Life, we are given life to live. And Arlene, even what I want to say to you, it's interesting when we talk about the book and then when the book has come out after COVID-19. It's important to understand that we have our life experiences, because the life experiences validate what we know. The life experiences bring up and cause our knowledge and our knowledge to be tried and our wisdom to emerge. And so this is the process that you were experiencing before the book. You saw the book, you saw the pages, but you were still processing life. And so it is important for you to pack your mom's things and from one step to another, because as you do that, and guys, listen. Valuable things emerge in its own time. You think that you're just going through a box, or you think you're just going through jewelry, but there are memories attached to that jewelry. There are conversations that you had with the person that you had with your mom. There are conversations that you eavesdropped on, that you still have the valuable information. Let's go further. There's conversations that your mom was aware of, you eavesdropping, so she added a little more gold. And it's just right there. And as you take a ring from one place to another, and you say, oh, I'm going to give it to my daughter, or I'm going to give it to this person. But your mother knew that you would hear, and that the value and the wisdom that you would attain would be far more valuable than that bracelet, that scarf. My mother collected leather bags. I have a problem with virgin leather and all that. I have a problem because my mom collected leather bags, okay? And so when I see a leather Coach bag, especially if it belonged to my mom, there are memories attached to it. And so your counselor understood. You get what I'm saying? Your counselor don't do this, take this move, take that move, because understand, guys, in order for you to move on, you must shed.
Okay.
Selah.
And so maybe that's even in terms of jobs. Some of the positions that people are shedding right now, they don't realize that they're actually opening doors for them to start businesses and to write books and to do the things that perhaps they really wanted to do all along, but didn't have the time to do. Yes. And so the suggestion is, while we're going through this pandemic, use the time to accomplish some of those things that you've always wanted to accomplish, and see yourself, see the end from the beginning. That's actually one of the steps that we've talked about, Tara. Visualization and seeing, as you said, I saw the pages of the book. See yourself completing the task and see yourself being wanted to be. 10-step program that we have in terms of the coaching is just for that. It's about achieving the goals that you've always wanted to achieve and living the life that you've always wanted to live. Because as you said, Tara, it is feasible. It can be done. We just have to know how to do it. And unfortunately, so many of us don't have a cheerleader or a coach on our side telling us that we can do it. One of the things that you shared with me when I was going through that journey was you mentioned that there are many people who never got back up. There are very many people who just died in the journey, so to speak, and never got back up. And you wanted me to go and talk to some of these people and expand my thought process, and I really didn't want to do it. Talk about that a little bit. Share with the listeners.
The suggestion was for Arlene to go 42nd Street, Bryant Park, wherever, and talk to derelicts, bums, hobos, people who lived on.
Can you imagine? I'm trying to talk with the presidents of the world and the people who are running organizations. I'm not trying to go to 42nd Street, but that was your suggestion. Go ahead.
The reality is, these people, they fell, and they just didn't get up. They're millionaires. They could have been presidents of companies. Many of them. There's so many valuable people. Okay, yes. Everyone is valuable, but we're talking about seeking out and searching out stories of people who did not get up. Why do we need to do this? Because it's a reality. It's real. See, I can try to spook you. I can try to scare you and tell you
there's no reason
if you don't
to do
move,
that.
it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
When you meet someone who stopped and said, I don't care, forget it, and you listen to their story and learn that their vision was far bigger than yours, far more greater, far more detailed, far more strategic, and you're like, oh, wow, and look at you.
Wow. And so the journey really is, the message then is to stay in the journey, is to persevere and to keep going. And thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Our guest has been Tara Bramble, who is a life coach extraordinaire, transformational coach, and myself. I invite you to join us, continue the conversation with us in the mastermind group at bit.ly/Ask Arlene, capital A for Ask, capital A for Arlene. We also invite you to go to, we would like to thank all of those who have helped us to work on the show today. The Empress, Armani, Gary Clay, William, Nicholas, everybody who's worked. And thank you, the listeners, for joining in with us today. And once again, we always want you to live the best life possible.
To make decisions, why not hesitate? I settle for less, but I deserve so much more. And baby, I charge interest, so this price you can't afford. If it's right or it's left, maybe for a kid only 4, but you need your right from your